Up next, we have the founder of Vaani AI, Tushar, who's building this with both Nitesh and Nitish. And Tushar actually has quite an interesting journey. Before this, he scaled and started a popular tea company called Badnaam Chai, which meant he's got quite an interesting journey from chai to AI. And together with his founders, he's building Vaani AI, where they're working on their own foundational model for speech. And they dream of a future where voice is the default interface of the world. So over to Tushar.
Thanks, Anjali. As we get towards the last end of all of the pitches, I hope you guys are still with me. I won't bore you. It's a 5-minute pitch. I'll respect the time and I'll try to finish it. And to finish it in time, I'll only focus on problem today. I know there are business aspects, there is a pricing model, there is a GTM strategy. All of that we can discuss outside. We have a nice booth there. Today, let me only focus on problems as a research company, the problems that we are going to solve and how we are going to solve it. So most of you, if you are in a VC industry or in a PE industry, you must be familiar with the voice AI part and how it's booming up. And there are a lot of people building a lot of very good use cases. Most of them are solving contact center use cases. Somebody is building a sales bot, somebody is building a customer support bot, somebody is building a pilot, co-pilot, right? There are tons of people building tons of cool things, and there are already foundation models out there. And everybody knows that voice AI has a potential. So is it going to be simple, right? It's going to be simple. Like you just leverage those models and then try to build something on top of it. And that's it. You just capture the market. Just spend so much money in sales and marketing. Is that how things going to be? Not. Because voice AI currently goes through a very severe issue, and that is exactly what I'm going to talk about today. The only way to build voice agents is the cascading architecture. The other way is direct speech to speech model, and it is still in its baby phase. So the only option all of the builders have today to build voice AI agents is the cascading architecture, where you combine telephony with a recognition system, with a reasoning engine, and with a TTS model. That's how the loop gets completed. And then there are 20, 25 pieces around it, which you need to build in order to make it better. So this is how it looks like. I'm just telling you a typical journey of how people build voice agents today. You start with a model, a foundation model, maybe a reasoning or a TTS model or an ASR model, but this is just voice. This is just reasoning. You need to orchestrate it. Just like how you talk with your friend, it's a dialogue, it's a conversation. In order to make that happen, you need some sort of an orchestrator. And in order to give that, you have companies like LiveKit and PipeCat, they'll give you the orchestration framework. But still, even after orchestration, problem is not solved. And then in order to make it usable, you need bot builders. What are these bot builders? There are many companies in the market. Some of the logos I've already included there. These companies will help you maybe write a very good prompt, will include human in the loop, will give you a RAG system so that you can infuse your private knowledge base and tons of other things, right? But still, there is a majority of problems which will still left address, and that is where you will read reports from MIT that 95% of the pilots never move to production, and this is where they get stuck at. After this, in order to make it enterprise grade, you'll need an observability layer on top of it, a telemetry, the evaluations, and a tons of other things, which will make it an enterprise grade and really usable in the market. And then, of course, I'm not even talking about the research problem. Most of the systems today are built on top of single prompts, which is a mono prompt or a mono agent architecture. And real world is very complex. Most of the data models that we have are Western inspired. They're trained on Western corpus of data. If you try to take it and implement it in any sort of Indian use case in governance, healthcare, or BFSI, it is going to falter at tons of objections. And that is what we've been seeing over the last couple of months in all of our real world deployments. And in order to solve that, you will also need to solve for research problems. So this is the problem. If any one of this piece goes haywire, your entire system will break down, and then you'll get stuck in POC or the pilot stage. This is what the problem is. How do we solve this problem? We just abstract it out with few lines of code. This is exactly what Stripe did for payments industry. We are going to do that for the voice AI industry. Any developer don't need to take 10 different APIs from 10 different places and try to stitch it together, right orchestration, optimize it, and give it an implementation cycle over the couple of months. You don't need to do that. We will handle all of that complexity. We'll abstract it out. You just need to use our API and SDK. So this is the block that you see on the screen. This is what we are doing. But not only that, what we are also trying to do is we are going a little bit below in the value chain. We're also going a little bit in the foundation layer. Apart from the infrastructure, we're also solving for the research challenges, and we are publishing research papers on it. These are the very real challenges, like how do we take turns? How do we talk to a person in the same fashion where it switches three languages in between? Once I'm talking in English, and then मैं हिंदी में बात करूंगा और फिर मैं मराठी में बात करूंगा, right? So there's always a mix of languages in India, and there's just one challenge. How do you solve for multiple challenges in order to make it work? That is where all of these research initiatives come in. You solve for that, and as well as you build a foundation model which can power this infrastructure. So we are currently building our own foundation model. It is a text to speech model, expressive enough. If you have ever heard about the company called 11 Labs, they have cracked the code when they try to make that voice expressive enough, but only for English and a couple of very popular languages. We are trying to do the same for multiple Indian languages. In India, there are 2-3 companies like Sarvam, Murph, and Smallest. They're trying to build it, but nobody has cracked the code because it is the data bottleneck. Unless and until you have a very high quality data, it is very hard to build a foundation model on top of it, and that is what I'm going to talk about next. We abstract all of this out, and the way people can use our entire infrastructure is through these channels. If you are a system integrator, if you're a developer, use our APIs. If you are an enterprise, just use our forward deployed engineers and you get custom deployments. If you're a product manager, use our GUI software, which is a SaaS platform. These are a couple of ways that people access our infrastructure in. And the last piece of the puzzle is how do you build a very good foundation model which is expressive and empathic enough, and how do you solve for the data? The hypothesis is, rather than optimizing on data and the quantity and quality of data all the times, why can't you go back to your desk and solve for the architectural challenges? Rather than solving for and putting more and more resources in data, you put more resources in novel architectures. So we have come up with a couple of very novel architectures, and we have gotten very good advisors in order to lead that particular effort. That is helping us build this particular foundation model. And what we have seen in early result is the same speech model, which is trained on 100,000 hours of data, it gives the similar output to our model, which was trained on just 5% of that data, which is a 5,000 hours of data. So that is the power of a novel architecture. We are also going to publish a research report on this soon. So this is all about the problem. This is how we are doing as a business. Particularly having 40-45 conversations every month. We are converting around 20% of them every month. And we have not even launched it in a self-serve platform. These are all custom engagements so far. I'll just skip this part. This is how voice AI as an industry going to evolve. We are in 2025, and most of the implementations that you're going to see now is in customer support, sales, and all of the contact center automation tools. But eventually it is going to evolve. You're going to see a lot of co-pilots, voice assisted journeys. Soon you are going to order food from Swiggy with voice, you're going to book cab from voice, and a lot of other transformations that voice will be able to do for you. And then eventually industry will evolve. This is the top-notch team. 80% of our team comes from the research background. I myself have done masters in reinforcement learning. So has my co-founders who's present here. As a last bit, we are going to raise $10 million in our seed round starting March next year. And we're happy to chat more about it. We have a very nice booth outside. Let's chat. Thank you so much. And as the last part, we are soon getting listed on a GCP marketplace. And Google has also provided us with 3 crores rupees worth of GPU compute, which we are using to train our model. So thank you, Google, for allowing us to do this. Thank you so much, everyone.